Hello everyone, welcome back. In just the past 200 years, human activity has transformed the planet in ways that were unimaginable before. We've moved from a world powered by simple tools and manual labor to one dominated by machines, factories, and vast technological systems. But there's something that has always puzzled me about this transformation. How did it happen so fast? Where did this sudden burst of technological knowledge come from? Let's take a closer look at the Industrial Revolution, the period in history that truly marks the beginning of this rapid change. For millions of years, human societies advanced slowly, making only incremental improvements in agriculture, tools, and trade. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, we made a leap. In the late 18th century, we started harnessing steam power, building machines to replace manual labor, and mass-producing goods on a scale that had never been seen before. By the early 19th century, the world had changed forever. But here's where the timeline gets interesting. By the mid-19th century, the pace of innovation accelerated even more. We weren't just building steam engines anymore. We were creating entire industries, developing complex machines, and tapping into energy sources that allowed us to revolutionize transportation, communication, and manufacturing. Trains crisscrossed continents, steamships crossed oceans, and factories churned out products at a rate that would have been unthinkable just a few decades earlier. How did we go from simple hand tools to steam-powered factories and mechanized production lines in such a short span of time? And why did this transformation happen so suddenly after thousands, if not millions, of years of relatively slow progress? And here's an even bigger leap. By the turn of the 20th century, we went from experimenting with steam-powered transportation to the invention of the airplane. On December 17, 1903, the Wright brothers made their historic flight, lasting only 12 seconds. Just 11 years later, in 1914, we had fully functional warplanes flying over battlefields. Think about that. In a little over a decade, we went from a brief 12-second flight to airplanes capable of traveling thousands of miles. How were we able to build the infrastructure, train pilots, and mass-produce these complex machines in such a short amount of time? How did so many nations, Britain, the US, Germany, France, and others, simultaneously master this new technology? It raises the question, where did this knowledge come from? What triggered this sudden burst of innovation that allowed us to leap from basic machines to advanced technologies in just a few decades? It's as if human society went from crawling to sprinting almost overnight. Look at the sheer scale of what was built during the Industrial Revolution. Entire cities were transformed to support the mass production of goods, the development of new infrastructure, and the creation of complex industries. But what's even more fascinating is that these advancements weren't limited to one region. This was a global phenomenon. Nations across the world adopted and improved upon these technologies, and within a century, the modern world as we know it began to take shape. The Industrial Revolution wasn't just about machines or factories. It was a radical shift in how humans interacted with the world, a moment in history when we seem to unlock a new level of understanding about the forces that power our planet. But how did this happen so quickly after millennia of relative technological stasis? I'm not here to provide all the answers, but I believe this is a question worth exploring. Where did this sudden surge of knowledge and capability come from, and how did it change the course of human history in such a short period of time? The more we look at our history, the more we see patterns of sudden leaps in knowledge and technology. And while we've come a long way since the Industrial Revolution, the rapid pace of innovation that started 200 years ago still shapes the world we live in today. But the question remains, how did it all begin? I invite you to reflect on these issues and share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay curious and keep questioning.